Hello, everybody. Adam Savage in my cave with Sean Charlesworth.
Hello.
How are you, sir?
Good.
We have some media.
Yeah, you probably recognize this guy.
I do. This magnificent recorder from last year.
Yeah, I was so proud of myself when I brought this in and I got one over. Like, you're like, I've never seen this before. Because usually I bring somebody who's like, oh yeah, I got 10 of these back here. So this was my proudest moment. And we're not going to go into this one a lot because you can go watch the video. This is the Tefifon. So basically what we have here is like, I don't want to say obscure media necessarily, but like unusual audio media that I've been collecting. So this is the Tefifon that kind of kicked this off, which is basically a record player cartridge where this tape is grooved, it has a stylus, and you could put like 4 hours on it. So go watch that video.
And it's so insane.
Yeah, so this was like circa like 1950s through the 60s. It didn't do great, and then it kind of disappeared only in Germany.
And these do show up on eBay from time to time since the video went up.
Yeah, everyone's like, oh wait, that's worth money. Yeah. So that has happened. Yeah. So I've just kind of brought in some fun stuff that I've been collecting that I thought would be fun to look at.
I'm curious how, like, each of these has probably arrived into your brain pan in a different way.
Yeah, well, you know what? This is a good point to give call outs because my main source, which this was also, is Matt Taylor, who is Techmoan on YouTube.
Oh yeah, I've given him credit
he's lovely.
Techmoan
and that's
is
where
great.
I found this, and this is where I found a lot of this stuff. And then also another UK person is Jason Curtis, who runs the Museum of Obsolete Media, like nonprofit. He does it by himself, and he just documents and collects all of this stuff. Like he physically has most of this stuff. So that's where I found a lot of the history of a lot of these. So both of those people you should check out because if you're into this kind of stuff.
Techmoan is how I learned all the stuff I needed to know about the Mindhunter Sony recorder.
Yep, he's great.
Yeah, he's lovely.
So that's where a lot of this stuff came from.
Man,
so
you have some amazing things in here.
One thing that I don't have yet, and we were talking about, is the magnetic wire recorder, which is a crazy device. It records on metal wire
by squeezing it.
And it was developed in the late 1800s, I think, and it was around through the 40s at least.
Yeah,
I don't have one of those yet.
My father had one when I went through his closet when I was like 7. And I just took it all the way apart.
Yeah, we'll have to get one on here at some point.
Yes.
And a lot of these I only have the media because getting the media is crazy enough to buy, and then if you want the player to go with it, it's like. Yeah.
These reels are going for $50 a piece sometimes.
Exactly.
So you want to walk me through your...
I'll go somewhat chronologically, but okay, we're gonna start with this guy right here. So this is an RCA sound tape cartridge.
What?
Right? So this is 1958 through like mid 60s. And as a compare, here's our regular compact cassette that we're used to, right?
That we're used to. This is also obsolete at this point, right? A lot of viewers
apparently they're having a comeback, which baffles me. So this is basically reel-to-reel tape in a cartridge. It's 1/4-inch tape in a cartridge.
That's insanity.
And it kind of bombed because they didn't do really well at getting players out quickly enough, and they didn't license music, and so it just.
So those two things would do it.
It was supposed to be more convenient than reel to reel, but the RCA sound tape. So that's a fun one, right?
I never imagined such a thing.
And then compact cassette came around 1963.
Okay.
But not until like early 70s did it become like you get albums and hi-fi and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I remember the Columbia Music and Tape Club when I was a kid was still adding 8 tracks as part of your deal. 8 tracks, CD,
and of course,
or cassette.
I don't have an 8-track here, but that goes without saying. That should be mentioned as well.
Look, the 8-track is an amazing technological achievement in getting yourself to the middle of any one of 4 songs.
Yeah, oh, so frustrating. And the sound quality, so good.
Yeah. So shitty.
Then we'll just go in chronological. We'll jump. Now we feature the Nagra SN, the Spy recorder, like multiple times. It became available to the public like early 1970s. Uses 1/4-inch tape on reels, so same kind of tape as in a compact cassette.
I think that one of the things that surprised me in researching the Nagras is how late these were in use. Like up until the 80s, these little reel-to-reels were being used.
I don't think there's a hi-fi stereo version of this, which I don't think came out till the early 90s, I think, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But we've look up our videos on these. We've talked about, done these many times, so we won't spend a lot of time on that. So then we're gonna jump to a Sony development. This is 1976. This is the L cassette.
The L cassette.
The L cassette, which was they had the same kind of idea as the RCA thing.
It's a quarter-inch
quarter-inch, so it's real tape in a cartridge. It was meant to be high fidelity and a more compact size. They actually did make like rack units for it. You could get, and it only, I think it was only around. I got to always get to my cheat sheets here, for about 4 years, and it just kind of bombed.
Wow.
It's very well made, but it just, and it was unusual in the fact where it loads more like a VCR, where it pulls the tape out and threads it through a mechanism.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's why it's top. That's why the tape is in the top, not the bottom.
L cassette. So you can find actual like for your hi-fi system, those out there. So L cassette.
Expensive, I would imagine.
Yes. The tapes themselves are not cheap. I think that was $40 or something like that. Then, of course, we're going to do one that is a little more common, the DAT.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. I forgot all about the DAT.
Digital audio tape. And this ended up primarily being more professional use.
Yep.
Digital. So it's digital. I happen to have, this is the greatest sound ever.
That is truly amazing.
And so DAT recorders.
So this was used professionally, like in film and in journalism.
And there were home units, but for whatever, it just wasn't a big home thing. But it was pretty revolutionary. These were used for a really long time, and they were really well used in the sound community. Incredible. Before we went all like SD cards and hard drives and stuff like that. This is what we used in field recording for all the movie stuff. So
one of the and this is again covered in the video, but one of the things I love about the late adoption of digital in the spy business is because the law requires, if you're going to surreptitiously record something, the chain of evidence requires that the original be saved, and in a digital copy, what is the original is something that had to be legally figured out before we switched to a digital frame. And so I'm curious if this also brought up some of those issues.
Right, because it's digital, but it's still tape. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
No, it's fascinating.
Because it does exist on physical media. It's a weird thing.
I have to say also, Sony is just one of the best at fit and finish.
I know.
It's like 70s, 80s Sony is just my sweet spot.
I do not use this, but I just love it because look at it. I mean,
they were really good at that. Like making objects you coveted that were bulletproof and robust and rigorous. Okay, what's next after DAT?
All right, so then we're going to jump to... This is one of my personal favorites. This is Philips DCC, Digital Compact Cassette, 1992 through 96. And
4 years of what?
Okay, so it's a digital tape.
That operates like a floppy disk.
Well, check it. It's laid out just like right?
So you can't it's the same thing.
It is. It's just digital. So this was meant their replacement for, but it was such weird timing. CDs were big already.
Right.
Why would they do this?
Well, and Philips is famously the inventor of the CD.
Yeah.
Right?
This is kind of baffling. It's like it only was around early to mid 90s. And now what they did though is the units that would play these were backwards compatible with regular cassettes. So you could play
that's
both.
actually pretty cool.
Right, but like it just did not catch on. Yeah. But I love it. It feels like the future.
It really does. Oh my God, that floppy and the idea that it reveals the spools
seems completely unnecessary.
So amazing.
Why does that need to be like that when every other cassette isn't? I think it was just to be cool.
I mean,
you know what? These need shutters.
When you think about the inertia of a big company like Philips in the early 90s, they're one of the biggest technology companies in the world at that point.
Yeah.
And how much inertia it takes to produce a retail thing for 4 years like this.
I know.
Wow.
And so
how much work.
And just everything about, I know.
The case is sweet.
It's really satisfying. Yeah. So it's a cool one, but yeah.
Can we call out how neat it is, this semicircle thing in the circle,
because
how it reflects?
Yeah, and it's obviously a little grip point.
Yep.
Like it's
it guides
really
you.
well thought out. But yeah.
I love product design.
So now we're going to jump to something actually pretty familiar.
Micro or mini cassette?
This micro cassette.
Micro cassette. I had one of these.
Yeah. And apparently there is a mini cassette, and I knew nothing about this until I was researching this.
The mini cassette is more primitive than this.
Yeah, it's roughly the same size, but it was completely driven by the reels, whereas most tapes are driven by the capstan, the rubber wheel.
Right,
and the
right.
reels are just taking it up. But it was apparently really crappy.
Yes, I had one of those too.
It was
really crappy.
So yeah, micro cassette. Everybody's probably seen these, but this, I'm actually bringing this to show this off. This is the Panasonic RN36.
It looks like a tiny little boombox.
One of the smallest micro cassette recorders ever made. And the reason I have it is this is the one they use in sneakers.
What?
This is
the one.
This is My Voice Is My Passport.
That's it.
Yeah. This is because I recently rewatched Sneakers and I'm like, that's a really nice looking recorder. Good.
My whole life.
Right? So I got screen grabs and I'm zooming in and I find it. Now I have to put, was made so compact, it actually doesn't have a speaker. There's a whole nother unit that you plug this into that has a speaker.
But
yeah.
what is that? They did that?
Yes.
Really?
Because it had no speaker, and he's holding it up the thing to play the playback.
So this is how the movie did
They
it.
stuck a speaker on it.
I see.
Right. So
I
I
see.
found an equivalent.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Yeah. But it's a lovely piece, and that's mainly why I brought that in. Yeah. And get this, this is the mic that's in it, and it actually comes out, and you can put it on an extension cable.
Oh my God, Sony.
Well, this is actually Panasonic,
right?
Yeah.
I was conflating because
this is it feels like a Sony. Yeah. So this is pretty standard, like voice recording micro
these
cassette.
were around for a long time.
Mainly for voice stuff. So then this is another one I just recently picked up. This is the Dictaphone voice processor from Dictaphone.
Dictaphone was like the earliest makers of
Yeah.
recording equipment for office use.
First feel that. Like, it's like a brick.
God, that is
Right.
lovely.
And it's got this like
With
little bit of leather.
like magenta leather.
So, as far as I understand, they only made one of these. This is, I got to get my cheat sheet again, 85, 89. They only made one of these, as far as I know, and maybe a desktop
One
unit
version of these.
that the transcriber would use. Yeah, one version of these. And they were super expensive. I have not actually been able to find out how expensive these were, but they were very expensive.
How did you get this one?
eBay.
Okay. I see. You haven't been able to find out the retail price back then.
Yes.
Gotcha.
But here, you got it. This is the
What?
This is the Pico cassette.
No.
Yes.
No. Oh my God.
Held the same amount as the micro.
It's so cute.
And it's a full logic controller, so these are not physical press buttons.
It's not it's fly by wire.
Yep. And it runs on funky batteries.
Are those ends?
They are
Oh
ends.
my God, I hate the ends.
Beautifully made. The crazy thing about this, there is no actual rewind on this. You can scan but there's no you can't rewind the tape because they expect you to do that in the desktop unit that your secretary would have or whatever.
The fuck? That's ridiculous. Wow.
Okay. Keep that one.
Keep that one.
And we're gonna go to the Sony NT.
Oh my God.
Which is
even smaller and 120 minutes.
Don't swallow it.
Oh wow. Oh man.
I know it's getting crazy.
I really didn't even understand the magic of what you were about to reveal to me there.
So the NT, the Sony NT, only Sony did it. It was a digital tape, could hold up to 120 minutes.
2 hours on that.
And they only did from 92 to 99, and they only made a few different recorders for it. One of which was called the Scoop Man.
Clearly their recorders are expensive because I don't see one here.
No. And these little tape mechanisms are ridiculous. There's 21 different pieces that make this little thing up. So I think that is that holds the record for the smallest audio tape.
Oh, thank goodness, because I didn't think we could get any smaller.
All right, so that's
all tape.
The cassettes and tapes. So we're gonna jump over. So compact disc, 1982-ish, somewhere in there, and then we had 92. We have mini disc.
Yep.
Right, and this isn't obscure. I just think it's neat.
No, my kid's godfather had these for years. He loved these. He made all sorts of mixtapes on these.
So they were rewritable, 74 to 80 minutes, depending on what you got.
Isn't this the media that we see Neo using in the Matrix?
Yeah. This is the future. This is like, I gotta say, the MiniDisc was my favorite portable player because a lot of them had these remotes that had the full readout on them.
Yeah.
I had a fancy one that has backlit. It had like 5 lines. You could clip it on your bag on the subway, and this was tucked away and be like, you know. I love that.
That's pretty freaking cool.
And MiniDisc has a soft spot for me. I just love them.
Well, it was your daily driver for a few years.
It really was for a long time.
Okay.
In fact, and I regret. I have regrets.
Oh, you got rid of your original?
Sold it. I had the follow-up to regular MiniDisc was High MD, which would hold a gigabyte. So you could put like 20 albums on a disc, and it would also hold data.
No.
And that's because they also introduced, that's when they started putting USBs on MiniDisc, and then promptly crippled it because you could record WAV files on them, but you couldn't transfer them directly. You had to go through their proprietary software, which would encrypt them into their
That's
8-track
Sony,
format.
right?
Yeah.
Sony.
So they shot
love
themselves in
those
the foot.
proprietary
Yeah. And
formats.
so the MiniDisc is an optical disc. They did a few like actual like albums, which are kind of hard to find, but like
Bjork.
yeah. And I just love the MiniDisc. It's an optical disc, you know, similar to a CD, and the fact that it has this cool shutter and everything. Like I just love MiniDisc.
Yep. Nope. It's a very, very sexy
It had
format.
CD text, so you could actually see what the song was and all that kind of stuff. So
right.
one day I'll get my old player back. But
Yes!
I had
What
these
was the
for now.
model? What was the make and model?
I think it was the NH900, which was the high MiniDisc one, and it had the fancy remote and the rechargeable battery and the add-on battery pack. Ugh, so good. All
Let's
right.
see one more bit of media here.
So to wrap things up, we have this ridiculous thing.
what is that?
This is the DataPlay disc. So DataPlay was, believe it or not, 2002.
Oh, right. Wow.
It is an optical disc as well. I haven't been able to figure out how to get those shutters open. It's double-sided. It's an optical disc. And it's crazy. You could hold 80 minutes worth of stuff on that.
That is far out.
No. I take that back. That would hold 5 hours and 500 megabytes of data. The problem was it was kind of late in the game.
Yeah.
Digital players are probably starting to show up, and they were only one time right.
Oh, geez. Oh,
Yeah.
no.
They were one
Sorry
time
for
right, but
yelling.
they were advertising these. They would be in cameras and music players and
But
data
only once? And then toss
But
it?
like, look at that would be in an 80s sci-fi movie.
Yep,
like
totally.
Like
completely. We're going to take the information out of our robot's brain.
yeah.
Boop, there it goes.
I think they only made 1 to 2 players. They went out of business. It just never happened. But look, it's another cool media. These are also kind of hard to find. Even like you can't find the players, and the discs are pretty hard to find too.
So one thing I love about this video is what I loved about the last one is I learned so much more in the comments on the last one.
Oh,
It
God, yes.
expanded on everything you said.
And
It gave you all sorts of directions.
I know I'm getting tons of stuff wrong, and I'm skipping stuff and missing stuff. There's way more stuff than this, but these are just some of the highlights from my collection.
I am so looking forward to hearing the corrections and additions
yeah,
to how this all lays out.
But yeah, I just thought you'd get a kick out of it.
Dude.
I loved your reaction to this, and I thought I knew you'd enjoy this kind of stuff.
I knew that people had built tape format recording into cassettes that were different than the standard cassette.
Yeah.
I had no idea how
Me
wide
neither.
that range was.
Yes, and I went down the rabbit hole.
From like 3x to 0.5x.
But once again, check out the Museum of Obsolete Media and Techmoan. This is where I learned a lot of this stuff, and they have far more information than I do. So,
Amazing.
Yeah.
Both of those wonderful, wonderful channels. Sean, this has been, oh my God, I totally, this
You
is
better
the
get one quick.
I'm going right now. Hang on just a second. Thank you guys for joining us. Love to hear your comments about your favorites or stuff you know about that we haven't even covered here in the comments.
Yeah.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year too.
We'll see you guys next time.